An APC Senate official hints 2 members interested in Senate President position could be expelled from the party. Licensed media companies say NERC's directive to begin distribution next month is unrealistic. In international news, Israelis head to the polls tomorrow for a general election in which Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is fighting for his political survival. And in sport, Super Falcons take on Canada in friendly match in Spain.
This is ANN News.
I am Lucy Adeyemi. The tussle for Senate presidency is still heating up, and some who had declared their interest in the position against party wishes are still clashing the gongs for their interest. But trouble may be brewing in the ranks. Senator representing Katsina South District in the National Assembly, Abu Ibrahim, has said the leadership of the All Progressives Congress, APC, may expel Senators Mohammed Ali Ndume and Danjuma Goje if they carry out their wish on the election of the Senate President. The senator dropped the hint while speaking with reporters in Abuja on Sunday. He said any APC member who goes against the party's decision or colludes with the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to sabotage the party on its choice for Senate President could be expelled from the ruling party. Political watchers have deduced Ibrahim was referring to 2 APC senators, Ali Ndume and Danjuma Goje, who would like to vie for the position. That move will run contrary to APC's endorsement of Senator Ahmed Lawan as its preferred candidate for Senate presidency. Senator Ibrahim, who is chairman of the Senate Committee on Labor and Productivity, says any candidate to whom a party provides tickets and resources to win an election should obey the rules of the party at all times. He said it is the caucus of the party in the National Assembly that will determine the eventual leader of the Senate through voting. The federal government has ordered foreign miners in Zamfara State to leave within 48 hours. The announcement on Sunday also suspended mining activities in the state to curb operations of armed bandits. This action came after an attack in which at least 50 persons were killed in the state over the weekend. Acting Inspector General of Police Muhammad Adamu told State House correspondent in Abuja foreign miners who violate the order will lose their licenses. He said investigations have tied the activities of the bandits to illicit miners. Adamu said the Nigerian military and other security services have commenced a full-scale offensive against the bandits. The acting IG said the operation is aimed at reclaiming every public space controlled by the bandits and bringing to book all perpetrators of violence and their collaborators. He also said all criminal camps and hideouts in the state will be destroyed and all illicit weapons seized. The police boss promised full restoration of law and order in affected areas. Acting Director of Lagos Fire Service Rasaki Musibao and 6 others have been abducted on Saturday night at Ejiri in Ikorodu. Personal assistant to the Vice Chairman of Ikosi Ejiri Local Council Development Area is among the victims. An eyewitness said the fire service chief and others were ordered to exit their car and were whisked away. He said the kidnappers took nothing from the vehicles. Some residents also alleged some travelers in an interstate bus were also abducted after the vehicle dropped off some of its passengers along the road. That kidnapping is said to be a separate incident from the one that sees the service director. Other residents have debunked the interstate bus kidnapping story. Early last month, Community Development Committee Chairman Tamsin Ajijadidu was kidnapped but was released after a ransom was paid. More than 100 PhD holders and 200 master's degree graduates who completed their education under the Bayelsa State Scholarship Program have landed automatic employment offered by the state governor, Seriake Dixon. The governor also announced automatic employment for all medical doctors, pharmacists, public health specialists, and others who were on the state scholarship program and studied professional courses the state considers critical to its needs. This gesture was announced on Sunday by the governor's special advisor on media relations, Fidelis Soruwe. The governor is quoted as saying this is the state's way of equipping its people to be able to tackle today's existing challenges facing the community. The governor also said although the cost is high, it is the right way to go. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, has said it expects licensed meter providers to commence operations from the beginning of next month. NERC's General Manager in charge of Public Affairs Department, Dr. Usman Abba Arabi, said 1.5 million customers are to be hooked up by meter asset providers, MAPs, under the two discos. But a meter asset provider, Moma's Electricity Meter Manufacturing Company, says NERC's directive to roll out meter distribution by May the 1st is unrealistic and is not feasible. The company's chairman, Kola Balogun, said in Lagos on Sunday the directive is unattainable, citing other challenges. Balogun says licensed meter manufacturers need 3 months grace period to have the meters available in their warehouses. NERC issued permits to meter asset providers on Friday and directed they must begin distributing meters in June, in just under a month. Balogun says it will take them till July before distribution of meters can begin. Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode has scored his administration's performance and gave himself a pass mark, saying on Sunday his government has performed well. The governor gave the grades at the launching of a $50 million Chinese manufacturing plant in Lekki Free Zone in the state. He touted the new factory as testament to his government's success in attracting investment to the state. He also said this is an eloquent confirmation of the strategic importance of the free trade zone to the state economy. Ambode said at least 25 companies had set up manufacturing plants within the zone. The outgoing governor said his joy will be to see factories springing up in the zone, creating job opportunities for the people and improving the state's economy. Coming up, African news. Bereaved Ethiopian families say Boeing apology for its MAX 8 crash not enough. And later, international news. Israelis vote on Tuesday as Prime Minister Netanyahu hopes for a 5th-term win.
You are watching ANN.
This used to be me. But that was before I got the perfect bag. It's handy and easy to use. All I need in one compact space, just like my MTN Extra Value plan. I used to get one plan for my calls and then try to remember which data plan worked for me. Roaming was a totally different ballgame. Not anymore. I've got the MTN Extra Value all-in-one plan. If you're a data buff like me, you get extra data with some talk time. And if you like to make calls, you get extra talk time with some data. And when I'm abroad, I automatically browse, chat, and call right on the same plan. MTN Extra Value was made just for me.
More of data or calls, whichever one you prefer. MTN Extra Value is made just for you.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. Now to African stories. It's been 25 years since the Rwandan genocide took place against the Tutsis. It only took 100 days between April and July 1994 for an estimated 800,000 persons to be killed in an organized campaign to eliminate the Tutsis ethnic group from the Rwandan society. Amnesty International Secretary General Kumi Naido said on the anniversary, the events must serve to reawaken the conscience of the world and arouse its shared humanity. He also said we are all human beings with the very same human rights and desires for a life free from abuse or repression. Many world leaders were at the commemoration, including Nigeria's Vice President, Professor Yomi Oshibajo, and former President Olusegun Obasanjo. More than 2 million persons were tried by community courts in Rwanda, while the UN International Criminal Tribunal in Rwanda convicted 62 persons, including former high-ranking government officials and others who played a role as masterminds of the genocide. Last week, Boeing chairman Dennis Muilenburg accepted fault for the first time on the software problems that caused the crashes of 2 of its MAX 8 aircraft in Indonesia and Ethiopia. Muilenburg also apologized to families of those who died in the crashes. But bereaved Ethiopian families say a Boeing apology for the Addis Ababa crash was not enough. Daniel Rapmoy reports.
Juliet Murudu Otieno,
A 50-year-old mother of 3 from Eldoret in Kenya's Rift Valley region was among the 157 people who died on March 10th when a Boeing 737 MAX 8 nosedived and crashed 6 minutes after taking off from Addis Ababa. This is the first time Juliet's mother, Sela Indimuli, is going through the funeral program of her late daughter who died in the crash. She says she kept the funeral program to herself over fears of breaking down.
This is the ticket she sent me. Okay, Mombasa.
She runs us through some of the latest and final pictures of her daughter on her smartphone sent to her from Egypt, where Murudu had traveled before her death. Flipping through the pages of her daughter's eulogy, Indimuli says Juliet was her favorite, joyful and inspiration to have.
We are all sad. We are very sad in the family. We have lost a very nice number 2.
Standing by a gravesite at the backyard of his family house in central Kenyan town of Nakuru, Quindos Karanja Jr. looks at the pictures of 5 family members who died in Ethiopian Airlines plane crash last month. Boeing, the manufacturer, has acknowledged bad data feeding into an automated flight system on the company's popular MAX 737 jets played a role in the crash, with an apology to the victims' families. But bereaved families say apology from Boeing, the manufacturers of the ill-fated jet, is simply not enough to bring back their loved ones.
It's good that Dennis came up, the CEO of Boeing came up and owned it up. But all we want is, before these planes go back to the skies, they make sure everything has been taken care of. We don't have to have such a tragedy, because it's a pain. It's very painful.
They are doing their part. They are doing their jobs. But they are not inside us. You are getting it. You may talk because it's your job to talk. But you don't know the one you are talking to, how she or he is feeling, isn't it? So if they did their part and it satisfied them, well and good. But for us, we have lost and we shall never gain.
Sela Indimuli is still trying to come to terms with the death of her daughter. She still can't believe that she is gone, and gone forever. The March 10 disaster, in parallels with another 737 MAX crash in Indonesia last October, in which 189 people died, has led to the worldwide grounding of Boeing's flagship model.
The first Friday of April each year marks the annual Middle Eastern celebration of Arab Orphans Day, during which volunteers and children enjoy art projects together. Often children from independent and often struggling Cairo orphanages participate in many fun events and receive gifts. This year's event is not any different.
There are around 5 million orphans in Egypt. Most of them live in challenging environments. To spread public awareness about their needs, Egypt created this Orphans Day.
This is the 16th celebration for Orphans Day. Our park has been part of the foundation of that day. We started with 5,000 children. Today, we host 12,000 kids in addition to the wedding ceremonies.
On that day, all parks opened their doors to welcome orphans for free. Scores of Egyptians joined the celebrations, which usually sees significant engagement from celebrities.
The Ministry of Social Solidarity has been monitoring the celebrations that took part in almost all of Cairo's parks. Egyptians have this excellent habit to make this day special for their orphan brothers. They increase their moral and materialistic support on that day.
This year, a joint wedding ceremony was held for 90 orphan girls. Donations have funded all necessities the girls need for marriage, from supplies to this massive ceremony.
People do not know me, but they are so happy for me. They made me feel that they know me. I'm happy on my wedding day. Orphans Day is a very beautiful day.
In 2004, Egypt has become the first country in the world to officially dedicate an annual day for orphans.
Ugandan authorities have said on Sunday a California woman and her driver, who were kidnapped at gunpoint by a group of men in a Ugandan national park last week, have been rescued. The Ugandan government tweeted the 56-year-old Kimbali Sue Endicott and her driver, Congolese national Jean Paul Remezo, were rescued by security services. No further details were given. The kidnappers had demanded $500,000 in ransom for their release. Endicott was traveling in a car on an evening game drive with Remezo and two other tourists in the national park early last week when 4 men held them at gunpoint. The other tourists, an elderly couple, escaped, but the government took Endicott and Remezo. The park's Ishasha Wilderness Camp area where the ambush occurred is a popular tourist destination close to the border with the Congo. When we return, international news, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu hopes for a 5th-term term in tomorrow's elections. And later sports. Super Falcons take on Canada in a friendly match in Spain. Don't go away.
You are watching ANN. Somewhere in the world, every second of the day, news is happening. And of course, Nigeria is bustling with news day and night. That is why ANN doesn't sleep. Our eyes are peeled, wide open, so no story escapes our radar. We stay abreast of world events and happenings at home. We keep you up to the minute in the world of sports. We give you information to stay on top of your investments and all the hard facts you'll need to navigate your day. If you miss us on air, you can keep up to date on our website, annafrica.net, and on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. We are ANN, Africa News Network. We do news right in a truly African spirit.
Looking for some Disney magic but don't know where to find it? We've got a magical solution just for you. Simply go to DisneyNigeria.mobi and get an exciting selection of games, short videos, wallpapers, shareables, and more. Explore a whole new world of Disney on your mobile, tablet, or PC. For just 200 Naira monthly, you get to enjoy the fun to infinity and beyond. SMS Disney to 11006 to begin. Terms and conditions apply. This service is only available to MTN customers.
Shining our eyes on breaking news, whether in the east or in the west, with Al-Shabaab in Somalia and Boko Haram in Nigeria, with turbulence in the north and agitation in the south. Wherever you live in Nigeria, wherever news happens in Africa, we've got it covered. ANN News, connecting Africans in a truly African spirit.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. Now to international stories. Israel has been blanketed by banners of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and other leaders as citizens prepare to choose a new Prime Minister on Tuesday in the general election. Prime Minister Netanyahu is pulling out all the stops to win the votes that would make him the longest-serving Prime Minister if he wins a 5th term. 59-year-old Benny Gantz, a former chief of staff of Israel's army, is giving Netanyahu and his Likud party a severe test as he contrasts his path with that of his rival. Gantz has also tried to seize on the scandals that surround Netanyahu and has accused the prime minister's government of being power-drunk, corrupt and hedonistic. Most polls show that Gantz's party, Blue and White, is ahead of Likud. Blue and White was only established in February. Those polls also show that a Netanyahu-led coalition is more likely to emerge after the election. Evacuees from the wildfire that has killed 1 and forced more than 4,000 from their homes in South Korea have begun to return home in hopes of picking up the pieces and rebuilding their lives. President Moon Jae-in has urged his government to declare a disaster area in the country's northeast. Jack Barton reports.
Thousands of South Koreans evacuated from the inferno that blazed across the northeast. returned to their homes and businesses, or what was left of them.
The best thing to do was just escape. If you took anything from the house, that could be very dangerous.
Tong Sang-bum says he is lucky to be alive.
I was thinking about my mother. Even my phone was in the house. The rescue people said, "Don't go back inside. If you go inside, you will die." I went back to drag her out, and that's how we survived.
Authorities are still trying to assess how many buildings were burned and how many people were injured.
When I tried to run away from the fire, I fell down.
The damage is terrible, but the big fires are now out, and all agree it could have been much worse. The fact that these fires were put out so quickly is mostly thanks to the massive response, the largest ever, that included 13,000 firefighters, 870 fire trucks, as well as 7,000 soldiers sent to battle the blaze. Officials have already started handing out damage assessment forms, so locals can potentially claim compensation. President Moon Jae-in has declared the fires a national disaster. The terminology matters because it allows the government to provide financial assistance in the short term for aid, but also in the long term for rebuilding homes and businesses in this area. Having returned to only smoking embers, many locals were back in the emergency shelters on Saturday evening.
I went there and everything was burned. I feel really sad. It made me cry.
I left behind everything except this dog, medication, a hearing aid.
And it might not be over yet. The conditions that caused these fires has not fundamentally changed. That is, the warming spring weather that followed a very dry winter that in turn followed a record heatwave summer. So officials and locals remain on alert, above all, hoping for rain.
Still to come, sports. Super Falcons take on Canada in friendly match in Spain. Stay with us.
You are watching ANN.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Adam, go and bring us your husband. Okay, hello baby. We're in this together, okay? Can you hear me? Keep coming forward. Wait, stop. You okay, lean to your right. Keep walking down. Keep walking to the left. Yes. You're almost here. Keep going. You are here. Wow, you did it.
I'm just so glad I didn't have to use my cane to do this.
And I am so glad no other man got you before me. Let me be your eyes.
We will never stop working to give you a network you can rely on so you can enjoy life's special moments. MTN, everywhere you go.
Welcome back. This is ANN News in Sports. Nigeria Super Falcons dazzled the crowd on Friday when they destroyed a first division club from Iceland 6-1. Today is another day when they will have to show their skills once again as they take on the Canadians in a friendly match in Spain. The Super Falcons had been tested before against China and Belgium as they prepare for the 8th FIFA Women's World Cup this summer in France. Now they will have to put it all together today against Canada, who have said they will field their full strength. Super Eagles former captain and coach Christian Chukwu is reportedly very sick and in desperate need of financial help to go abroad for medical treatment. After Chukwu led the Super Eagles to their first ever Africa Cup of Nations title, he is now reported to have a debilitating health problem. He needs financial assistance to offset cost of travel to the United States and for surgeries and treatment. A GoFundMe account has been set up for the purpose. In a positive turn of events, happy to report that NFF President Amaju Pinnick announced on Sunday from the UK that he has mandated the chairman of Enugu State Football Association to get details of Chukwu's situation and what needs to be done to return him to good health. Pinnick has pledged the support of the NFF to help in restoring Chukwu's health. Good development indeed. And that's CNN News this evening. Thank you for joining us. For details on these and other stories, visit our website, annafrica.net. Conversation continues on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. I am Lucy Adeyemi. Have a pleasant evening.